Great. Did I ask?
Survival quick play. We're doing silver.
Silver and gold. Silver and gold. Waiting for Giuseppe to ready up.
Yes, I'm typing.
Take your time, take your time. I'm eating a Snickers. I mean, nothing. I'm eating nothing.
There you go.
So I'm not sponsored by nothing.
Change Twitch. And this one's gonna be crafting a chat. New Year's episode 22.
22.
New Year's special. It's just right. New Year, new us.
Sure.
Alright, I'm waiting to hit go live. Stream info, let's see, category.
If I go offline, it'll take me about 10 minutes to come back if that thing happens again, by the way.
Okay. Well, we'll make sure that if that happens, we will handle it.
Hopefully it doesn't.
We'll handle it. All right, let's craft a chat.
Okay. Oh, I did not sleep well last night.
Oh, that's
nice.
I was going to bed, and as I'm laying there, like I'm watching like YouTube and stuff,
of vengeance.
and then a spider just crawls right across my bed, and I'm like, oh! And I lose it. Hey, where you going?
Live. Wait, Giuseppe, wait. Alright, ready? I'm gonna hit go live. 3, 2, 1. We are live.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome one and all. Crafting a Chat, episode 22. I guess we're going to go ahead and call this our New Year's Eve special? Pre-special? Yes. We have a little musical number for you.
I didn't know we could actually start playing music in Minecraft. This is crazy.
Well, it's a new expansion. Anyway,
did Minecraft get good graphics too? This is really amazing.
It's not too bad. So, what has everyone been playing this past week?
Oh, I'll go first.
Go for it.
I've been doing some Ghost of Tsushima, which is a totally different game from this. I've also been doing... actually, we didn't go back to Sackboy. Adam and I did not play Sackboy afterwards.
I did.
Well, yeah, you beat it. I didn't go back. Did we actually play afterwards?
We played a little bit, not like a day or two after.
Not as much. I just played a round or two of COD, and then I also started up Resident Evil 7, which I think I started up after our stream from last week. I don't know. I was still in the Resident Evil high, and I was like, you know what? I wanna go ahead and start a Resident Evil game up again. I was pretty good off of 3, and I was like, I'm good for another one. I started up 7 and streamed that for a little bit on my other channel, and I was like, you know, this is a lot of fun. I'm gonna keep going with this.
Yeah, good for a Resident Evil situation.
Are you done, or?
Yeah, I'm done.
Usually you say, like, who's next, or whatever. Giuseppe, why don't you go next? You got the most interesting of the week going on.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I spent a decent amount of time playing Cyberpunk 2077, to the point that I have gotten to the point of no return main mission. Gave me the little prompt saying, hey, by the way, make sure you got whatever you want to get done.
Not Are you at the end of the game already?
No.
Apparently, no, not at the end of the game. But it
Act 3.
Yeah, Act 3. So, I do want to, complete a little bit more side missions. Although I have been
Wait, are you still on the? You already rescued what's his face?
Which face?
The main dude, the uncle.
Wait, what? The uncle.
Yeah.
Johnny Cash? Keanu Reeves?
Yeah, I don't know. Not Keanu Reeves. Is it Keanu Reeves?
Yeah, it's Keanu.
Is Keanu Reeves your uncle? What am I talking about? Never mind, ignore me.
I don't know. What are you talking?
No one knows.
Anyway, anywho, so
Breathtaking.
Yes,
That's your
very, very breathtaking. So I've gotten to that point. I do want to complete some more side because I have actually gotten my my street cred level is at max, but my regular level I've still got a number of like regular levels left when it comes to maxing. And when I do, it's going to give me more access to some items that I had been looking to get in my gameplay. So I'm looking to do that before I commence that last sequence. But I have also, unfortunately, started to experience a little bit more of the glitchy nonsense with Cyberpunk, specifically in regards to the whole like stretchy, warped hands and like the strobe, like the uncontrollable strobing effect.
Hasn't there been like 1.06 and now like 1.07 come out for that? Like, how have the hot fixes helped your game, or have you not seen a lot of the issues that those are fixing?
I've not actually really noticed anything
better.
I've not really noticed anything superior. In fact, I would go so far as to say might have gotten slightly worse.
Really?
I know that's not the intention. I know that's not.
Yeah, it also said the ending part of the game it got worse as the game went on.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be
I can definitely,
a factor.
Yeah, I can definitely attest to that for sure. So it's getting a little annoying with that. So I don't like that. I don't like that one little bit. But aside from that, I'm still enjoying it, despite the lagginess, despite the whole issue I've also been having with text on the screen, even though I play with all my subtitles off. Sometimes text will just spontaneously disappear when people start talking some kind of dialogue, and then it'll just stay frozen on the screen. It won't actually continue like it normally would. So I'm still, again, long story short, I'm still experiencing some issues with Cyberpunk, and I'm not particularly keen on it, but I'm still pushing and powering through because I still enjoy the world, and I still enjoy being a master hacker. I like being that kind of a build. I think I've all but like just abandoned guns like altogether. Like
really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know you could like do that.
No gun?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I just quick hack people from distance and from stealth, and I can take out whole squads of dudes. And I don't even melee. I don't even use guns anymore. It's interesting. And I enjoy that. I enjoy it a lot.
Nice.
That's really what I've been playing.
Have you ever gone through the bug in the game where it has like, because I remember watching in Video Game Donkey's video, Video Game Donkey, if you wanna come over join us one day, go ahead. In his video where he was talking about like multiple side missions appear at once and like multiple people would just start talking over each other, or not maybe talking over each other, but you just keep getting consecutive side missions just keep coming on your screen, like, hey, I need help with this, or hey, there's this thing I need you to do. Have you seen that at all, or no?
I have not run into that with my game. None of that. But again, my issues have become a little bit more focused on the visual side of things. The audio.
I have a feeling that might just be your GPU or your.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
For sure, absolutely. But aside from that, I'm still powering through. I know I'm sure I would be enjoying it a lot more if I didn't have those issues with it, but it's fine. Despite the story progressing at the rate that I have, I'm really not so over the moon about the story. I'm not.
Really? I mean, that's one of the main points of the game, that they're like, yeah, the story is the selling point. A lot of people have said that about it, but...
No.
Really?
Not that really impressed with it. It's, I mean, again, I don't hate it for it. It's just not really blown away by it. It's there. It's fine. But yeah, that's really what I've been doing. Adam! Because I went on my diatribe.
Nah, you're good. You're good. You had the most this week, so I've mostly been playing. Not really Minecraft, shockingly, this week. I've mostly been playing some Sackboy. In the last few nights, we did some Ghost of Tsushima. A lot of the multiplayer, since you got that recently, and we've been trying to grind you up. So it's just a couple boys grinding, as you know.
Different game than this. Different game. This is not the same game.
That's very weird that you have to say that.
Different
But yeah, just playing mostly Ghost of Tsushima. Really, haven't really touched it. Oh, I got back into Need for Speed, the game, the one Most Wanted or Payback.
Why do you consistently go back to that? I have very curious.
Because consistently, not consistently. I want to play a racing game. There was a free one on Plus. I'm playing that free one on Plus. And I'm just kind of like, well, I'm getting close to the end of the game, I think. So I'm just going to continue it, I guess. So, again, it's not a great game. I still don't like the loot box style of the upgrade path. I don't know why you can't just race and get money, why you gotta randomize it. I don't know. It's weird.
I feel like that was a big thing from like Need for Speed Underground and stuff like that, right?
I don't know where I just went.
Get some money, get some new cars, things like that.
Yeah, it's annoying, but honestly, I'm having a lot of fun with like some of the races and stuff. I'm actually like doing stuff, and when I complete a race that was a little bit difficult, even with a car that seems way over leveled, I still have some issues. And then when I beat that race, I'm like, hell yeah, I did it. So very exciting. But other than that, not really playing much.
The ghosts lowered their weapons as the battle ended.
Giuseppe, you have a topic this week. I do not.
We do have a topic, yes. So we decided to try a little bit of an experiment.
This is a week of experiments.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an experiment. We were trying to be a little bit more proactive.
Ghosts were faced with
and while attempting to have a somewhat productive and flowing discussion on one topic, and we'll see where it kind of like spawns from there. But as it stands right now, there was a little film that was released fairly recently on HBO Max, much to the chagrin of Christopher Nolan and others regarding.
Is that what does that mean?
It means that there have been some people out there that have been critical of Warner Brothers streaming strategy when it comes to major film releases.
It's not only that, the way they did it, they didn't tell anybody. They weren't like, hey, actors, let's work it out with you. They were just like, hey, by the way, public and the actors, all your stuff is going to go on our streaming platform, so hope you're ready. So people were not happy with that.
Yes, that is something to be aware of. But yes, a little film by the name of a WW84, aka a Wonder Woman 84, has come out. And
well, let's say who's who. Yeah,
at least I was going to say at least two of us have actually seen it.
Unless I haven't seen it, I just don't care.
Okay, all right. I was going to say unless one of us wanted to surprise the other two, but anyways.
Right.
I apologize. I don't know. DC and me just don't. I don't.
Yeah, probably best.
Well, regardless, though, the sequel to Wonder Woman was a highly anticipated, regardless of who you are or what your interests were, because the first one was in my opinion, a phenomenal success, both critically and financially. Yes, again, it was yet another superhero origin story film. However, it was very well done. Looked great, performed well. Yeah, Zen didn't really have the most. It was a standard issue kind of origin story plot and story. So you weren't really reinventing the wheel when it came to that. Which is fine. It's just simply done well. And you have some good character moments, which it did. It's a very entertaining film. Empowering to women, girls, and it was just also a great looking movie too. I mean, it just looked really good. So yes, the sequel, highly anticipated, but for some odd reason, still progressing forward in Diana's past in relation to present day establishment, Justice League Men of Steel, BBS, like that kind of situation. But yeah, we're in the 80s or 1994, and this first segment we're kind of basically going to be talking about a little bit like generic, well, not generic, the general observations. So non-spoilery reviews, but we will be getting into a spoiler segment.
There would be some warning, of course.
There will be a
warning.
Yeah, Genesis will do that when it comes time.
Yep.
Here you go. We'll have him do that. So as of right now, generally speaking, I would say it's had a mixed bag reaction-wise. Generally speaking. And which is really surprising, considering the high of the first film. I mean, it was just such an accomplishment all the way around the board. For Patty Jenkins as a director, for Gal Gadot, basically kind of like silencing the doubters to an extent. And honestly, for DC films, which were fairly desperate in need of a win. And Wonder Woman definitely delivered.
Yeah, it did.
But 84, slightly different reaction going on there. Adam, what were your first thoughts?
Give me one second. My first when I saw it, well, I want to talk about like I'll mention what I thought of the first movie. I love the first movie. I think it's one of my favorite superhero films. I think as people who watch this or listen to this podcast, mostly watch, they know that I'm the DC guy. I'm a big DC guy. A little bit of a fanboy, so take my opinion with a grain of salt to try to be as non-biased as possible. I really like the first movie. It does have its issues. Yeah, that first movie is something special, and going into this, I was very excited. Like, very, very excited. It was kind of like, how I describe it, it's like watching Batman Begins, and then expecting The Dark Knight to come out. So, but the thing is, The Dark Knight did not come out. The Dark Knight Rises came out. There's elements of the second movie that I like so much, and I feel like I'm saying this with every DC film that comes out nowadays. I mean, even this entire universe, really. Mostly just the Zack Snyder stuff. There's so many elements I like, but then there's elements where it's like, oh, I wouldn't have done this at all. Some aspects of it just don't flow for me. I still enjoyed the film overall. I still think it's a good movie. I've seen some people saying like, oh, it's not good at all. And I'm like, sure, but like, I had a good time with it. I haven't watched it a second time yet. I wanted to before we did this, but just time constraints. Also, this doesn't seem as rewatchable as the other one.
Well, that's 100% sure. Right?
Yeah, but I will definitely do that and get back to everybody on that. Because, as you know, I got until like January 25th or 4th, I think. I have a month because they're taking it off after a month. So
It's only up for 1 month?
Yeah, it's only on for on HBO Max for a month, and then it's gonna come to like video on demand, like streaming services.
Do you have to pay extra for that video on demand thing?
Yeah,
like, 'cause
probably.
Now I know
It's like a
part of
pay-per-view
HBO
thing.
Max.
It's like a pay-per-view
Oh, so
thing.
that's an interesting way of doing it. You let people watch
Yeah.
it for free first, and then you...
Yeah, you give it free to your subscribers, and then you put it out. Yeah, but that also is like, if piracy didn't exist, yeah, that's a great way to do it. But like, obviously, some people are just gonna steal this film. But overall, I think it's a good movie. To quote Pedro Pascal in the movie's good, but it can be better. And it's a shame that it's not. But Giuseppe, what's your overall thought on the film?
Well, I mean, I think this is, for me, calling it a good film is a bit of a stretch. I would say, generally speaking, it's fine, it's watchable, but at the same time, I would say it's equal parts frustrating when it comes to following a story. And I think ultimately that's the true weakness of the film, is that it's delving. It really seems to know what kind of story it's trying to it really seemed like it was grinding its gears to kind of like reinvent the wheel when it comes to making like almost like a meta villain, to kind of like frame your entire plot around. And while I definitely appreciate the effort made to make Pedro Pascal's Max Lord into that kind of a villain, and more than just, I want to rule the world, or I want to
the enemies
beat the good guy or kill the good guy or what have you. Yeah, it's his motivation is much more dynamic than that. But the execution really came up short.
Yeah.
And I think the main reason for that is that I think honestly, I have to put a little bit of this blame on Patty Jenkins, because she was given writer's credit on this film, and apparently she had a much more direct say in terms of the scripts. And I don't know what her experience writing is, but her inexperience as being a tenured screenwriter is definitely on display in Wonder Woman 86.
Yeah, I might be mistaken. I think the last movie she actually wrote was Monster.
And she had the benefit of real life guide her path.
Yeah.
Which, again, nothing wrong. Not to take anything away from Monster. That was full on creep factor. Excellent film. Very disturbing. And Charlie Theron. Wow. But this was not a great example for her to show off her writing prowess in this film.
No, not at all.
And again, it really has to boil down to what kind of a story they wanted to tell. You had some odd stuff happening with the villain, with the antagonist Max Lord, in terms of what does he really want to do? And then he gets to doing certain things, and then for me, and I watched it with my wife, and we discussed it pretty thoroughly by the end of the film. We had a little chat session, basically. We're like, okay, so we understood what was going on, but then we didn't understand a lot of the choices that were made by characters at various points in the film. And it was just curious. It was just curious some of the choices that were made.
Yeah, there's some
when we get to the spoiler section, I have a question for you guys.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
when
of
we
course.
Get to the spoiler section.
Yeah, we'll probably get there actually pretty quickly, because we're kind of just we're skipping around so much stuff, and I agree with what Giuseppe is saying, but I still enjoyed the film more, I think, because as much as I have gripes with the film, I still think the cast is great. I think Pedro Pascal's villain is has some issues, and we'll definitely talk about some of them in the spoiler cast, if not all of them. But I think Pedro Pascal's performance is fantastic. I also think Gal Gadot, Chris Pine, even Kristen Wiig was great. Like, I liked everyone. If I had to say, like, who the weakest link is, it probably would be Kristen Wiig, just because her character wasn't as well fleshed out as I think it should have been. But we'll get more into that in the spoilers. But overall, I say if you have HBO Max, check it out. If you don't have HBO Max, I would say they do have a free trial, I believe, still. Check that out. Honestly, I really like HBO Max. I recommend Harley Quinn on it. There's a lot of DC stuff that's actually pretty good. It's worth checking out for anybody with like just any kind of taste. Like, just give something a whirl, because DC's making a lot of weird stuff right now. And then you also have like all the HBO stuff on there as well. So yeah, I'd recommend checking it out. I don't know, Giuseppe, if you want to give a whole little... Would you recommend it? Would you tell people to stay away, or... It's difficult.
It's a tough recommend for me, because you have to, this is one of those films where you really have to be kind of like dialed into what's happening with DC, because it doesn't have a lot of, I don't know, I just didn't really find the story to have very high stakes. It just, honestly, it felt like an episode, like if Wonder Woman were a TV show. It felt like an episode of a TV show. It didn't feel like a big event in 1984 that absolutely required Wonder Woman's intervention to save the end of the world. Even though that's kind of exactly what happens in the film, but it didn't feel that way because it didn't ever really seem perilous to me. It seemed a little kooky. It seemed a little bit like, come on, Diana, what are you doing? I mean, you should have had this thing wrapped up in like 5 minutes. And that, plus the confusion as to what they wanted to do with the villain, and what they also wanted to do with Diana too. Like, specifically, there was a thematic, I think, a little bit of a thematic disconnect that was happening.
Yeah.
That they kind of like established in the very first scene. They were talking about truth, blah blah blah, and the truth is the thing that is the undeniable truth. And then you think that that's going to be a thing that gets repeated, but it doesn't really.
At the end, it does. Just very strangely.
It never comes back before that, which is tough. You'd think that it was going to make an appearance a little bit sooner. But no. So I would say, generally speaking, if you really want to see a good-looking kind of like, well, actually, you know what? I can't even say that because there really wasn't a lot of action. There wasn't a lot of action, for those combat sequences for Diana showing off her prowess. There needed to be a little bit more for that visual eye candy. I would say if you didn't have anything better to do, check it out. But there are definitely better action films, even specifically in DC's own library of DCEU films.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would go ahead and recommend check out Shazam.
Shazam is so good.
Shazam. It's fun. It's funny. There might be people out there who aren't like exactly about it, but that's fine. Yeah, Shazam.
Yeah, that's one Genesis I still think you would like. Shazam. It's the most Marvel of them all.
Yeah.
Well, even more so. It's very Marvel.
Listen, it's
yeah,
the same reason I don't know. After Aquaman, I was like, I don't know. I'm kind of done with this universe. I'm kind of done with this universe.
No, it's fine.
Don't.
That's fine. You still got to check out the Spanish film Joker. So.
Oh yeah, I heard that Spanish film is actually really good. Joker has gotten very good reviews and critically acclaimed.
Do we want to just jump into spoilers? I say yeah.
Genesis.
Sound the alarm.
Warning! Warning!
Is that what you did? I don't think that's what you did.
Yeah, I just screamed warning.
Oh, was it? Man, I did
I
not
just screamed
listen.
warning. Warning!
All right.
That's a warning.
If you don't mind, I'm going to start.
Go for it.
This movie started up, and you get young Diana running around, and I'm like, oh my god, and I'm like, I'm back in the Wonder Woman. I'm back in the first movie. I'm back with all the feelings, the emotions, and she's running around, and she's acting all like little young Diana, and she's like, she's just as much Wonder Woman as I remembered. And she does all this stuff, and then she slides down that thing, and like cheats, and then she gets to the end, and then that whole truth speech happens, and then we get to the mall scene, and the mall scene plays out, and I'm like, this is the cheesiest thing I've seen in a long time. And Patty Jenkins, as much as she loves the 1978 Donner film of Superman, like, you can love those movies, but please update them. I mean, you already did, technically, by executing a lot of great scenes in the original Wonder Woman, where she catches the bullet. Like, that's a clear reference to the Donner films. And this mall scene is like, it's 70s cheesy, but in a way that I don't think works that well. She's winking at that child, and like, there's a lot happening. There's a lot happening that I just was not a fan of in that scene. And then she drops him off on a car. Like, even the action in that is a little subpar. And that's when the movie, I was like, uh-oh. But I was also like, okay, this could work. But then the rest of the film alternated between that and all the other scenes. It was like this cheesy like thing, and then it was like a serious thing, and it was strange. So that's how it started for me.
The mall scene was. I think it really set the tone poorly early on.
Yeah.
Suggesting just how low stakes the rest of this film was in fact going to be. I mean, really? There's nothing else better to do? Before we go into any more specific spoilers, I do want to make one additional observation about this film. Wonder Woman 1984. Not a great homage to the 80s.
Not at all.
It doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like an 80s film. And the main reason for that is no music.
There's one song or two songs, right?
Maybe, but they're also not the better known 80s tracks, like the 80s tunes that defined that decade. Wasn't happening. Didn't happen, and that was a big disappointment for me because I'm an 80s geek. I love almost everything about it. It was not very representative of it at all, and that was a big letdown because that seemed like the easiest thing to do.
That was also talked up too by Patty Jenkins herself. If you like followed the news of the movie, she was like, the 80s is very important, especially 1984, with all the Orwellian themes that are happening. And after watching the movie, I'm like, I feel like at some point,
I don't believe those were there.
Yeah, I think at some point they were there, like Big Brother's always watching and all that. Like with but at the same time, like, there was clearly some sort of script revision, and then the movie, it could have used a couple more proofreads. Like, tighten that up. Like, and by a couple more, I mean maybe like 20. But friend of the show, Chris, and I had a conversation about the 80s theme. And we were like, what's the point of this? You could literally set this in any decade, and it would have worked. I would have rather seen this in the 60s. Like, just give me something in the 60s, and give me Wonder Woman with Etta Candy. There's not a lot of technology back then, so she wouldn't have to break all the cameras, and, like, that would be a little bit more believable. And there's not superhero movies really set in the 60s, so it's not like you have a, like, something to live up to. And plus you'd have a couple returning people. That would have been nice. But again, at the same time, it could have been set in modern day. It would have made no difference.
No. It really would not have.
Genesis, you said you had a question, though, when we got into spoilers.
So one of my questions I read online on Reddit, and they were just talking about this movie, and somebody had made a reference to a plot hole that appeared in this movie, where, or many plot holes, but they specifically used one where they were talking about how, why wasn't this talked about in the Justice League movie, when Bruce was looking for her, and they're like, why was this... Yeah. Why was this entire thing left out? Like, where was the 80s segment? Like, why wouldn't Alfred just be like, hey, we saw her in the 80s. You should look for her. She's been active since. He was saying, like, the last time she was seen was that in the initial time period of the Wonder Woman movie. And I'm like, wait, that's not correct. This is Wonder Woman in 1984.
There's not really an answer for that. The thing that Patty Jenkins herself has said is she doesn't consider the Justice League movie that came out canon, and none of the DC directors do. So Zack Snyder's Justice League may address that she's not been seen. But also, in Batman v Superman, Batman knows nothing about her. So
right, and he's not stupid. He's a very intelligent multi-billionaire. He would have known who this, or have at least some idea, either him or Alfred.
Yeah, I can explain this with this being a DC film, and there is clearly not someone involved that is like doing all the Kevin Feige stuff. Yeah, they're not overseeing the timeline. They're not connecting all the dots. They're not like, okay, what do we need here to do this to make sense here? And they're not doing that, and it's obvious.
One of the things that I feel like Marvel just does very well, and like I said, it's Kevin Feige just kind of keeping an eye on the whole timeline and saying, okay, here's where we were, here's where we're gonna be, and this is what we need to mention. Like, this is one of the things that I want to also ask you guys as well. What other, if there are any plot holes that you guys have noticed in the movie?
Why did Chris Pine have to come back in some other guy's body?
That seemed very unnecessary.
Super unnecessary. It wanted to do like a body comedy, but then it didn't commit to that either. It's very strange.
That was stupid. I mean, everybody else's, when they were getting their wishes, their corrupted wishes, they were literally happening. They were literally manifesting in fantastic ways. Why the need to do the, just kidding, not really, but not. Just trying in his own body to do that manifested. It was so battle.
Yeah.
And while they did, while Patty Jenkins did have like one brief scene of him looking at himself in the mirror to establish that is clearly what is happening, it's still confusing in light of all of the other fantastic things that were happening to people along the way. You know, it seems highly unnecessary.
Yeah, it's also interesting because not everyone renounced their wish. There's definitely people who like made a wish, but then I guarantee you they didn't renounce it. And we don't even know if Kristen Wiig's Cheetah renounced her wish.
No, she said that she wouldn't.
Yeah, she said that she wouldn't, and then you see her after everyone's renouncing it, and nothing comes out of her mouth. So, she might still be like Diana, just not fully formed yet. So I'm glad they didn't kill her. I was so glad they didn't kill her.
Yeah.
Because, spoilers for Birds of Prey, they just murder the villain. I hate when they do that in superhero movies. Like, that's not what you do. Like, come on. It's such a 2000s, 90s thing to do, and it's so annoying. I was so glad that they didn't.
Well, I gotta tell you, I'm not... I guess it's okay to possibly see... oh gosh, I got hurt there. It's good to see that she's not been outside of the universe to perhaps see a better conflict between those two characters. Because while they were half-heartedly framed to be rivals in this film.
Yeah, sure.
But the execution was basically that they were only rivals from one side of the equation. Kind of like how certain sport teams have rivalries against others that have traditionally and very recently dominated them historically. And the team that keeps getting beat tries to, come up and say, "Hey, this is going to be our time," and the other team that's been doing the dominating is like, "Well, we don't really. Who are these guys?" In a very similar way, Diana does not see Cheetah, or what's the woman's name again?
Barbara?
Barbara. Yeah, doesn't see her as really much of a friend or much of a rival in regards to anything. So she's just there.
It's because she's sad about Steve.
Yeah. Beet sauce. Very weak.
Yeah, I kind of wish they took the Doctor Strange route for Barbara, like they did with Mordo, or Mordo. Like he becomes a friend, and then by the end of the film, you're like, uh-oh, like, you know who this guy is. I kind of wish they did that, and it was a little annoying, but that's just not what DC does, unfortunately. And it's a shame, because they should. One of these days, we're just going to take over and run that place. I swear.
I agree. I think it should definitely happen. I think this is just one of those things where they have a big, powerful, iconic superhero in Wonder Woman, and unfortunately, they delivered a very lame event for her to make an appearance and do her superheroics in a period of time.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we can always read into the narratives of these cinematic universes and understand that these characters are living and they're doing their thing over the course of several years. But when we do get a chapter revealed to us in a feature-length Hollywood blockbuster, it needs to be worthy of our attention. And while the plot points of Pedro Pascal's Max Lord wishing to become the Wishing Stone, thus granting everyone's wish in order to take everything that he wants back in return, seems like this is like some kind of chaos demons run amok on Earth that could surely wipe out all of civilization the way it did for the Mayans and all of these other mysterious, and not so mysterious civilizations that but ended their reign of dominance so mysteriously. That seems like it is, but it's just far too abstract and vague to be worth one singular superhero's influence in order to overcome and save the day.
Yeah.
Which also not really the thing that happens either, because the way that
The defense
film
of
ends
Aoi Village.
is pretty ridiculous. I mean, let's face facts. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it just seems like, okay, so how was she speaking to everybody when the cameras weren't necessarily on her?
It's because that beam in the center of the room went to the world?
I don't know. But again,
I don't know either.
It was not clearly demonstrated visually.
I mean, it was clear that she was speaking to them. How she was doing it, the beam. That's enough.
But then, well, basically, you know what that ending is? The ending of that film was basically the ending of Dragon Ball Z. A series of Dragon Ball Z.
I do not know that. I've never watched that.
It's basically, the world was about to blow up.
Oh.
And Goku, well, actually not Goku, it's actually Vegeta, speaks to the world on Goku's behalf to give him their energy in order to create a spirit bomb that ultimately kills Kid Buu and saves the world. But he does it through just a massive broadcast and saying, "Hey people, come on. You gotta get on the board. You gotta... Same team.
It's like in the comics when the Flash got everybody to concentrate all their kinetic energy and then he ran across the universe.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Who can forget that classic moment?
Wait, so everybody started running and then he ran and then...
No, it's more, they just concentrated their kinetic energy. I don't remember. It's been some years since I read
everybody
that.
tried to think of themselves running and then he ran.
They just moved a bunch, I guess. I don't know. I don't remember.
So they were running in place and then he ran.
Yeah, basically, I guess. I don't remember.
So that gave him the energy to run across... Wait a minute. So what you're telling me is that...
Don't get wrapped up in this.
No.
Stay on topic.
Hold on. I wanna just understand, and then we can go back to topic. Is if everybody in the world was to stand in place, there'd be one man who could cross the universe?
No, the Flash gained the power of the Speed Force. The Speed Force feeds off of kinetic energy or something. I don't even know if I'm saying this right. Giuseppe, jump in at any moment.
I'm not enough of a Flash scholar to tell you that for sure.
Same.
I like how he called it a Flash scholar. That's interesting.
Yes, Flash scholar. Yeah.
Can you earn a bachelor's in Batman? Can you be known as a
Actually, you can.
Batman?
It's like not a bachelor's in Batman. There is this class of Batman and stuff. We'll talk about that after the cast. But getting back to Wonder Woman. My main issue with the Max Lord is, as much as I like him, that abuse story comes out of nowhere. And I'm like, there's not even like a hint to this. And I feel like that's screenwriting 101. Because if I know it, that you have to drop like at least one hint. Not one hint was dropped about that.
It needs to be set up. It needs to be set up. It was not set up. Plain and simple. That's it.
Him like trying to connect with his son, that was set up because every time he was like, "I'm not a loser. I'm not a loser." Then he kind of uses his son at one point, so he wishes greatness for his father. I don't know if that kid renounced his wish. So I don't know what that's taking from. Some dude also got a coffee. Or like he wanted a coffee hotter. I don't know if he renounced his wish.
Right.
Like there's a lot of little dumb ones where it's like, I don't know about this. But it's interesting, like, just reading up, like, this could be like a soft flashpoint for the DC universe. Because if people got their wishes, like maybe somebody wished for superpowers. And it took away their humanity. So like that there's so many things it could be.
It could be, but
it's also WB, so it won't be.
Can you explain Flashpoint real quick?
Flashpoint.
No.
Oh,
In a short explanation, instead of Barry Allen's mom dying, he decides to save her, and that totally changes the course of history for some reason. Everything, yeah. It literally changes everything. Bruce Wayne ends up getting killed in the alley, and his dad becomes Batman while his mom becomes the Joker.
His mom became the Joker?
Yeah, there's like a classic comic panel, and honestly, it's the most words that Martha has ever said in the comics. And in film.
Damn.
Yeah, and then Superman is, he lands in, where does he land? He lands in the center of Metropolis, doesn't he? And then he destroys Metropolis, and the U.S. government takes him in. I think that's how that one works. And then,
is this similar to the story of, like, how Injustice is? Like, the Injustice storyline? Like,
no.
very similar to that?
No, not at all. Not at all.
no.
You've never played Injustice, obviously.
Isn't
No, Injustice is a story because the Joker puts a bomb into Lois Lane?
Sure.
Oh, no.
Into
Yeah.
her?
Yeah, he puts a bomb in Lois Lane, or I don't know. He does something that when Superman takes Joker out of the city, Metropolis and Lois Lane explode. So basically everything Superman loves is gone. And then Superman kills the Joker. And then kind of just goes on like a, why do we let these monsters live? That's Injustice, though. That's something, you know? Play the game. Watch the cutscenes, honestly. Good stuff. Good stuff on there.
You know what? I'll take your advice and watch that one.
But,
I have another question for you guys.
Oh,
Little off topic.
little off topic.
No, sorry. Question about Wonder Woman. So, because of the environment that we are living in today, and this movie did not come out in the movie theaters, do you guys feel like your interpretation or review of the movie would change if you had to then pay for like a movie ticket, go in there, watch in the theater, and because it's only on a... Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say yes. For me, I would have felt much worse having paid Dolby Theater prices to subject myself to that, because it just didn't deliver on the basics of what I expect a blockbuster to give me. And that's not to say that I need every blockbuster film to give me Infinity War. It's not going to happen. That is an exception to the rule. And the fact that was able to happen is honestly a testament to hundreds of employees working for Marvel Studios just to bring it all together, to have the ambition and the focus to make that happen. It's not just some other disaster film or some other alien invasion film. I mean, yeah. So that's not my expectations. My expectations were to be entertained and have a cohesive story that mattered, and to see Wonder Woman be Wonder Woman. And I didn't really see a lot of Wonder Woman. She was there. She went through the motions, and I was a little underwhelmed. And I would have definitely felt worse if I had to spend real money to see that. Yeah, I probably would have. I don't think I would have gotten upset at it. Because like there are definitely some films and video games that just really. Oh my goodness!
Are there?
Yes,
Justice League.
Yeah. But this one is not one of those. But I might have been pushed a little bit closer to that edge had I had to pay the premium price for the theater experience.
Yeah. A little background. I saw Wonder Woman 1 in theaters 9 times. So I was prepared for this one. Before all this lockdown stuff happened, I probably would have saw this in theaters. I was expecting to see it around the same amount of times. After seeing the film, I still would have paid a theater ticket price for this, but I would not have returned unless it was like a cheaper ticket. Because as much as I dislike the movie, I think I still would have gotten enjoyment on a bigger screen with like better sound and stuff. Just because I just like a movie theater experience. But at the same time, yeah, I totally agree with that. Like, also, if I paid for this, I'd probably be like, I don't know about that. I also did buy HBO Max for this movie specifically. Because I wanted to watch this movie. I wanted a couple other things on HBO Max. But if this movie wasn't out on HBO Max, I probably wouldn't have bought HBO Max until, like, something else came. Like, as much as I love Harley Quinn, it doesn't warrant a purchase of HBO Max. And I thought that with Wonder Woman, it would have. Even if I was told how much I would have liked it, I still would have purchased HBO Max for this. So, and I paid for HBO Max for, what, 7 months? 6 months? I think there was a thing for it. So, but yeah, I could see people being upset. So, that's why I said if you have HBO Max, watch it. If not, don't bother.
Yeah, it was interesting. I just wanted to see the different dynamics versus, we have to go pay movie theater prices for this movie, and then we're watching this. I feel like there's a clear difference between the two. And I think, you guys would have given a very, very good opinion. Giuseppe would have given definitely a polarizing opinion. So.
Well, I mean,
not polarizing, really.
You have my thanks.
Yeah, I don't think anybody, at least again, I haven't read a ton of articles, reviews, or seen people's reactions on YouTube. But I've seen some, but nobody's going out of their way to go to bat for Wonder Woman 1984. Like, nobody's going out there and saying, you people are crazy, what is wrong with you, this is a great film, it needs to be celebrated.
I've seen some
for instance,
who say they love it.
Yeah, but it's not. I think the most common thing is that it is, in fact, very middle of the road.
It is.
It's not great. It's not great. It's not terrible. But it's also not a situation like perhaps The Last Jedi, where it had some very, very passionate defenders, and it also had its fine collection of
enemies approach.
critical.
There are some people that are really against this film, though. There are like some people are comparing this to Daredevil from 2003.
I think that's really just mean nonsense.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that. Also, I like Daredevil from 2003. So, what do I know, though? It's a guilty pleasure. Yeah, you'd have an opinion about it. I honestly, in a world where reactions on the internet typically are, this is the best thing ever, or this ruined my life, this movie is so middle of the road. And I still, like I said, I still enjoy it. If I had to give it a rating out of 10, I'd probably still give it an 8. That's how much I still enjoyed it. So, I know I've kind of been, talking down a movie. I really like the ending. I like her speech, even though it's ridiculous, and for some reason, the abuse stuff comes out of nowhere. Even though the Barbara stuff is strange, I think the fight they do have in the White House, I do like, even though it's short. And the fight they have in the end, for some reason, mostly takes place in the air. And then underwater at one point. I don't understand that. When the action of the first movie is so good. Like, it's so much better.
Like I said, the first movie's, Wonder Woman's action is very, very good. I mean, I'm not comparing it to the next one, but I like the action of Wonder Woman.
Yeah, the first one is really good. Maybe it's because she's just wrecking guys. And this movie could have been that if there wasn't, a whole cheetah fight to build up to. But even...
Which was kind of disappointing.
It was disappointing, but it didn't look as bad as I thought it was going to look.
Oh, speaking of looking bad, and I'm so glad you brought that.
I figured you had something to go on.
Hollywood still cannot figure out how to do cat people. Because guess what? She looked real bad.
She didn't look that bad.
She looked bad. She looked bad. She didn't look Jellicle Cat bad. She didn't look that bad, but she looked bad. That full CGI cat abomination looked horrible.
I like the look.
Honestly, what they should have done is straight up made a CG, a 3D composite of Cheetah from Justice League, the animated show, and that's what they should have done. Because that would have looked infinitely better than that horrible thing that they delivered. Or better yet, just keep Kristen Wiig as is.
I actually like the look. I didn't like the color. I don't like how she was white, like her fur was white.
Yeah,
I expected more of like a yellowish
snow leopard.
Yeah,
snow leopard.
That was a little strange. But
wasn't she yellowish in the promotional videos, like the promotional trailers? Did they change her?
It's also mostly at night.
That's the color.
So
again, that's a cheat. It's
a cheat. Yeah.
Something horrible looked somewhat better.
But I think the CG was actually much better than I thought it was going to be. I don't, by any means, I don't think it was great. I think it was like serviceable. And the overall look, like, it worked for me because of how quick it moved. And in general, I was okay with it. The most pointless thing in the movie is that armor, though. Let's throw that out there. Let's get that out of the way.
So, I'm not sure entirely if that armor made an appearance in any kind of a DC storyline in the comics.
Kingdom Come.
But, that's what I was going to say. Other than that.
No.
That being the case...
They might have worked it in, actually, like, later.
You mean after the fact? Well, I was going to say, like, it was... The details of the armor itself, whatever, but in Kingdom Come, like, it made a lot of sense to that story because of what was happening at that point. It was just basically a massive war going on, and Diana was ready to go to war, straight up killing murder dudes, because that's what war calls for. And that's why she geared up to that extent. You've never really seen her in war armor. She's never really been painted as that kind of character prior to Kingdom Come, when she used that Golden Eagle armor. I think it was a cheap trick for them to, like, you know, give Diana some kind of, like, marketable look.
Yeah.
That really was not needed for the film, wasn't needed for the story. There was no payoff to it. It was a setup. It was a setup, but there was no need to have it there. There was no need for it.
It was a setup as in, hey, what's that? Oh, that's some stuff.
That thing.
That's that thing. Also, stay for the credits.
Yes.
Was there an after credit scene?
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
mid-credits. Yeah, mid-credit scene.
Mid-credits
Does it set up another film? No. Another character in another film? Sure. I guess.
I don't know if she'd want to do that. Well, it's Linda Carter.
The second Wonder Woman ever.
What?
She's the second Wonder Woman.
So Linda Carter is Linda Carter played Wonder Woman Diana Prince in an iconic fashion in the Wonder Woman TV show of the 80s. Basically in the same kind of block as, like, you know, your 18 Knight Rider, Incredible Hulk. And she's a gorgeous woman. And
still looks good.
She still looks really good. Funny is, like, that was easily the best moment for both me and my wife, because we were both when the Carter Wonder Woman. She was like, oh, that's so awesome to see her like that. I'm like, yeah. I was like, you know, Linda Carter is like what Austin Powers. Women wanted to be her, men wanted her, and women wanted to be her.
Yeah.
And even now, to this day. And when she basically played the character in WWE 84 as the Amazonian who...
Arteria?
Yeah,
or something like that?
Right, the Amazon who was the original wearer of that Golden Eagle armor.
She stayed behind, so all Amazons can escape to Themyscira.
Right.
And she held back all of humanity.
So she was the original Wonder Woman? Is that what you're saying?
She was the Wonder Woman in the 80s TV show. She's not the first ever to play her in live action, but the most iconic.
Right.
So why is there an after credit scene that is telling us that she's going to be in the next movie?
No. Well, she could be.
It's possible, but I don't think they're that ambitious to do something like that.
As a side character, sure.
Yeah.
I'm not understanding this after credit scene then.
Okay, so again, you're aware of the Golden Eagle armor that Wonder Woman wears from the trailers, correct?
I've seen that, yes.
Okay, so in the film, it's established that a character wielded that armor to do specifically what Adam said, to allow the Amazons to be free while taking on, like, all of the... basically all that hate, envy, and aggression of men, blah blah blah. I forget exactly the details. But
yeah,
again, she's established as a mysterious, iconic warrior of the Amazons that is to be admired and respected for her legendary self. And then later on, Asteria is basically seen in the normal world, in the real world. She's just walking around and
saves a woman.
Saves a woman from like some falling pillar or something like that. She catches it one-handed, which is kind of impressive. And she says, "Oh, I've been doing this a long time." Blah blah blah. And she reveals that it is Asteria, and Asteria was established as that mysterious Amazonian legend who bore that golden armor. And again, that was the loose connection between that character and Wonder Woman. It's not a big deal. It's a
nice little nod.
Right. For people who are fans of that show, of Linda Carter, Wonder Woman mythos. I mean, it was a nice thing. But again, nothing that was like...
no world building setup, crazy, tune in for the next one.
So that's all it was.
Okay, so they don't have anything like that. They had nothing.
No, there's nothing. They're not. That's not who they are. It wasn't no Shazam.
No, there's no clear vision. Really.
Are they doing like another? Are they trying to make another universe? Are they trying to do anything like that?
We don't really know. The one
doing
thing
something.
Is that we don't know anything for sure. Which is a shame, because again, we're talking about DC, and DC's got a lot of awesome licenses.
Yeah.
And they've not really been able to weaponize them.
Everybody they put in charge of DC just doesn't like DC characters.
Or know them enough.
Or know them. Patty, I think, really knows Wonder Woman, though.
Oh, I don't think so.
I think she does.
If that's the case, then she is like an elementary school level writer then. Because I was gonna attribute that business more for her ignorance of the character, not really knowing how to use her, find the right character to match her up against in order to illustrate a thematic evolution in her character. This was a story that honestly, like, GCPD probably could have handled themselves.
Yeah,
I don't see Wonder Woman being the one that they needed to have to save the day here. And not only that, and again, comparing it back to the first film, Wonder Woman, the Amazonian warrior, trained as a warrior, but again, not meant to be a warrior to go looking for war, as a warrior to defend peace, versus the antagonist, the god of war, Kratos, who's pursuing war for the sake of war, for murder, destruction, and all that goodness, in a very patriarchal kind of way, as opposed to Wonder Woman coming at it from a defense, a matriarchal, maternal institution. So, again, that's a very basic kind of thing, plot-wise, theme-wise, but that is to the core of that character, and places her in a perfect dichotomy against the antagonist. Not so with Max Lord. Not at all. Not at all with Max. If she had her druthers, she would do whatever she could to keep Steve. And if it meant having that one little thing, she doesn't ask for anything. She wants one little thing. And that's like the one element that I think any person watching this film can easily identify with Diana, because we all have those moments, especially this year. We've all had a lot of setbacks and varying degrees of bad luck and bad things happening. And we all want that one thing. It's so much to ask for this one simple pleasure. Are we somehow undeserving of this one thing that we feel that it's not asking for much, and yet it's asking for a whole lot because of whatever. And that was probably the best character moment for Diana when she was struggling with the whole. I don't want to give you up, Steve. And I got with that. I'm totally sympathetic.
The ghost called out.
100% agree. But they didn't use that as the linchpin for her arc. That wasn't. It was kind of like an afterthought. It only became important when it needed to be important.
Steve wanted to talk about it, and she kept putting that off.
Well, he was more amazed at the situation. Wow, why is this even happening?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was just more like, how normal is this? I'm a little bit concerned.
Yeah, we've been talking about this for a while, so I don't know if you want to have a couple thoughts, to wrap this up, and then, I don't know, hopes for Wonder Woman 3, I guess. If you want to do that.
Sure, let's wrap it up. Genesis. There you go, he got it. I would say my final thoughts are Wonder Woman 1984 is a blockbuster film that is probably deserving of being released on streaming, because it's more representative of some lost potential. Because it could have been a better story. There could have been a more cohesive story, and honestly, also pacing. This was a film that was not very well paced. And while I admire its ambition to do something meta and interesting and new with its film, the sad truth is that not every antagonist in a superhero genre film can be Thanos. And unfortunately, Max Lord is he's not that. He's just not nearly as interesting. Even though he was desperately framed to be that interesting. So, check it out if you have nothing else better to see at home in COVID times. Definitely would not recommend seeing this at a theater, staying with the prices. Not great, not horrible. There have been worse films, especially in the superhero genre.
Especially in the DC universe.
especially in the DC universe. So that's kind of where it's ended. Alright. Wonder Woman 84, I agree. Surprisingly, I agreed a lot with Giuseppe on this one. I bet he's shocked, because we didn't talk about it at all. So wanted to surprise everybody. But I still enjoyed it more than I would say most, probably. I think it's a mixed bag, and it's a shame because of how good the first one is. If the first movie wasn't as good as it was, I think people would be more receptive to this, but that's still no excuse for this film. If you have HBO Max, check it out. If not, borrow a friend's HBO Max. If not, pirate it, honestly. I mean, I'm not going to endorse pirating, but,
if not, just don't watch DC movies in general like me.
Or be Genesis and have your eyes closed to the world. And be a Disney shill for the rest of your life. So,
absolutely. Best way to look at the world.
So, you know what they say, Disney, Marvel, and iPhones all go together. So, that's what I say. And then for Wonder Woman 3, I can't wait till they find a way to bring Chris Pine back. Hopefully for good this time. I know. I hope Cheetah comes back, and I hope we get something good. Maybe what's his name? Dr. Psycho, or what's in Harley Quinn? Dr. Psycho? I lose my mind there. Yeah, Dr. Psycho. I hope he comes in, drops a C word. Hopefully that's a whole arc. Can't wait. Yeah, Wonder Woman 3. Here's hoping.
Wonder Woman 3. Gal Gadot is Gal Gadot.
Gal Gadot. Better. Gal Gadot. Doobity doobity doo. Genesis, what are your rumors?
Oh God, that's a good question. That's a good question. What are the internets talking to me about this week? Internets. I actually have one, a couple that I was actually talking to before. Giuseppe has not heard this one yet, but apparently one of the rumors this week actually is Netflix is developing a Elder Scrolls TV series. They want it to be more popular than the 2019 adaptation of The Witcher. They are... and this is according to Daniel Richtman. Richtman, I think that's how you say it. He's a film industry insider. He was the one saying all this. They're apparently in talks of doing that. What do you guys thoughts on that? I know.
Okay, so that is a very ambitious thing. Primarily because in Elder Scrolls,
they would have to go into that.
Well, yeah,
not really.
Really?
Whether they do or they don't, that's only that's a question of budget. You know, if you can definitely do that, anything can be done. But how good it will be, that's depending on how much money they're willing to put into it. But the real challenge to it is that a fantasy setting like that, Elder Scrolls has no real singular protagonist to frame the conflict around. Unlike The Witcher, unlike Lord of the Rings, unlike other fantasy genre films, heck, even the world, even the Warcraft film had its iconic heroes. Elder Scrolls doesn't, because the main protagonist, like Dragonborn, for instance. Dragonborn doesn't have a proper name because those main characters are the player characters, and they don't have a singular identity. So that's a very difficult thing to overcome, unless they plan on making the story be about one of the other characters. So that's a big challenge. Number two, there's so many the world of Elder Scrolls. I mean, heck, Skyrim is its own continent.
More enemies.
Morrowind and all this, like, these are all hugely different places. And what do they want to do with the story? Do they want to focus it on one area? Or do they want to do some kind of a nonsensical Game of Thrones things where they're traveling around multiple continents around the world, like, with no concept of time, because everyone's basically teleporting in order to get to where they need to be at a given moment, which is kind of like ridiculous. So I don't know. It seems a bit ambitious, and while I'm sure those ambitions to make it better than The Witcher are definitely a good goal to have, very unrealistic. Very unrealistic. But hey, it's good for them to aim high. But I just don't
aim
see
high
that.
and fill it up real low.
What? Not at all.
The thing goes, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
aim
sure.
high and fill them up real low.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. I don't know what you're aiming. I don't know how it's filling people.
You always aim high and you fill her up real low, like real
Anyways,
low down.
yeah, I don't have too much on this. I didn't play any of those. I don't care for them. It's not my type of game, like the setting and stuff. Yeah, but everything Giuseppe says sounds correct. So I'll back that up.
Outstanding.
All right. My next rumor up here is apparently. So I think back in like 2016, 2017, we had rumors of that Bully game by Rockstar coming out again.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently that game was canceled within the same year. According to I don't know who's Tez too. I have no idea who this person is. But according to this person who posted on Twitter for this thing, they were saying that this is the actually not even the first word of this cancellation. This is actually the second time that they were looking to try and make this game. And apparently the reason why that this was taken down was just due to development of GTA 6, which I guess has been in development since 2015, around there, as well as RDR2 taking a lot of the steam from that. So I guess Bully 2 was going to be made, but then they decided not to do it because of the aforementioned games before that.
It's a shame. I love Bully.
I know. I've never got into that game. What is the big thing with that? Is it like you're literally in high school or something like that?
It's basically GTA, but for kids, but really not for kids. The best way to describe it. You're just a kid who had to go to like a prep school, and you kind of just like you basically do GTA style missions, but like set in like the classic cliques of schools. So you can you play a kid named Jimmy, and you can pull pranks on people. You can get into relationships with, like, I think girls and boys, and you just do these like wacky missions, like your weapons of choice are like a what are they called? Like oh man, it's Giuseppe, you know them. They're like the thing where you pull back and shoot it. Slingshot. Thank you.
An arrow?
Oh my goodness.
Bow and arrow?
Slingshot. I horribly described that. I got it. We got there. Yeah, you got a slingshot. You got like a couple other things. You can make people trip. it was just a lot of fun.
The ghost.
And there was a lot of collectible stuff, so that was cool. I really liked that when I was younger. So I'd love a bully to come back. So it's just, as I said before on this cast, there's just not enough bullying nowadays.
I would agree.
I just want a bully game that only takes place where Jimmy's at his computer. Except he's still the same Jimmy. And he's just like a 40-year-old guy, like bullying a bunch of kids. So.
Giuseppe, any thoughts on that one?
Not so much.
Okay. My next one I got up here is Ubisoft. You guys are aware of Ubisoft Plus, right? You guys know what the new service that Ubisoft is offering for all their games and all that. You pay, I think, one fee, and you're able to play all those games.
Yep.
So one of the rumors going around is that that subscription service is now going to be included with Game Pass Ultimate. This comes from Twitter, saying that apparently they are waiting for a certain thing they're going to do in January, February, which will announce the integration of Ubisoft Plus with Game Pass Ultimate, which would now mean Bethesda games and Ubisoft and EA titles are all included with Game Pass, I'm assuming, at that point?
Yeah, that would be all three of those. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really care about Ubisoft games, and EA games I really don't care about either. Bethesda games I don't really care about either.
If that's the case, that's pretty much all the big stuff on Xbox for free, for just a low monthly cost. So.
What do you guys think of that one? I would think that at least that if anything, that's gonna put a little bit of competition and strain on Sony and Nintendo. But again, it's more along the lines of, you know, it's the same Ubisoft garbage, it's the same EA garbage, it's the same Bethesda garbage. Yeah, they're pumping out the AAA games, I guess, but most of those times, those AAA games are very far and few between that are actually worth playing. But I guess that would give them a good amount of ammo if they were to integrate that.
The threat now vanquished. The ghosts prepared to
Game
move
Pass,
onward
just for
and
Xbox.
challenge new
Definitely
foes.
something that they need to stay relevant and viable in the next console generation. You know, that's what they need, and good for them to push the envelope and make big time acquisitions like Bethesda. Let's see if they can make it work though, because they need some games. Sony's got the games.
Yeah, they need games.
Sony's got their own games, but they need some games.
That's why I wonder if it would make any difference to Sony at that point. I mean, they still have a better library of games overall, and those are still multi-plat games. You can still get them on PlayStation. It's not like you can't. Just the value of Game Pass goes up. Which at that point, if the value keeps going up for that, there's going to be a point where they can't, at the price point that they're at, they cannot stay viable, correct?
There's got to be something that we don't know. There's got to be a way they make money that we don't understand, or there's I don't know what this. I don't know. I just don't know.
Yeah. I got another one here. Another rumor here. SIE London, London studio, the guys who made The Getaway, 8 Days, is working on a big PS5 project with online multiplayer, apparently. And all the comments seem to point to PlayStation Home 2. Although I don't think that's going to be a thing. I would love that.
PlayStation Home? What?
PlayStation Home 2. I would love if that was a thing. That'd be great. I used to like Home a lot.
I think Home was cool for the time. I think if they make Home again, it's got to be something crazy. Also, Home wasn't a game.
VR as well. I mean, it wasn't it? It was more of a social place, like a social thing.
Yeah, it's where you met up.
But you can play games in there. Like I could play bowling in there. I could play. I didn't, but my character did.
No, I mean, like, you can play bowling at home, or you could play bowling at home, but at the same time, like, it's not where people were going to play bowling.
Gotcha.
So,
Gotcha.
Truth. Hey, I got a legendary charm.
how?
You can get legendaries in silver. You can.
Yeah.
Silver what?
Silver.
Oh, silver blocks in Minecraft. Silver
I
blocks
understand.
in Minecraft. Yeah. Sorry, yeah. He was using a diamond pickaxe, and he got a charm inside of a silver block that he found.
Yeah, there you go. I like it.
I think the last rumor that I got here is just another rumor where it was taken of an image where Halo Infinite's coming on the 15th of November, apparently, according to a Microsoft Store screenshot.
Ooh.
15th of November. Also, Dying Light 2 seems to have a couple updates coming out now. I don't know why.
Dying Light. The game.
Yeah, apparently Dying Light. So they're saying that it was a Christmas tweet that they had. They will be letting us know about Dying Light 2 coming in the new year. That's all it says.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, that's what I got for this week, though, for the rumors. About
I got
1 hour 28.
Ooh, what you got?
PlayStation 5 has shipped 3.4 million units in the first 4 weeks.
That's just shipped, right? That's not sold, correct?
Yeah, and it's from a third-party site, so it's not confirmed or anything, so technically it's a rumor. So, fastest selling PlayStation console. So,
Ever.
the thing is, especially with this, it may be shipped, but there's not PlayStation 5 sitting on shelves, like, anywhere.
No, it's still very,
So,
very difficult to
even,
get more.
even where you say shipped, like, they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And that's 3.4 in the first 4 weeks.
yeah.
I mean, we're now, what, almost 8 weeks into, no, almost 6 weeks into the life cycle of the PlayStation 5?
Yeah, a little more than that, I think.
6, 7,
Eight,
7 weeks?
7 or 8.
Mm-hmm.
7. Yeah, 7.
And you still can't go out and even buy a console off a shelf or even get a proper chance at getting one in a restock.
Yeah, we knew this was going to be a thing.
Truth.
So,
Yeah.
Truth.
but it's expected now to sell 18 to 20 million by the end of 2021.
I think that number's going to exponentially go up.
Yeah, so good stuff.
More than likely.
But yeah.
Well, gentlemen, does anyone else have anything else to add for our New Year's Eve-ish kind of themed wrap-up podcast?
I hope everybody's 2021 was as good as 2020.
As good as? Let's hope for better, right?
No.
For Adam,
I'm keeping the bar low.
This is the best.
Keeping the bar
This
low.
is the best year so far.
I definitely don't want people to have as good of a year as 2020. I mean, unless we're speaking to the one percenters out there, who are basically the only people that really.
I had a good 2020.
Okay, well.
By the way, guys, my name is Jeff
1%ers.
Bezos. I tricked everybody. I have one tiny eye, and I kind of look like Two-Face in that way.
There you go.
So,
no, definitely. I hope that everybody has a better 2021. We need to leave 2020 in the dirt. We need to bury it deep. And hopefully it starts with us. All of us here, you at home, and look in the mirror and just try to be better. Don't be a dick. I know I say that at the end of all of our podcasts, but I really do mean it for this upcoming year. If we can perhaps treat each other a little bit better and treat ourselves a little bit better, maybe things can, turn that corner and actually start getting a little better. And but again, it's perhaps a naive, blind hope of mine. But we can do a little bit more to maybe make things a little bit better for each other and And maybe we can, push through, and hopefully the vaccines will come out, and we'll all get them and not have to pay an arm and a leg for them, and health and public safety will improve and go up, and then we can finally return to normal so that we can do better and progress further and forward. So I hope nothing but good fortune, health, safety, and prosperity for you and all of your families for 2021.
I disagree with all of that. But tune in next year and we'll have a podcast on it. I hope 2021. I hope the bar is so low in 2021 that it just hits you in the ankles like a razor scooter. All right. So by the time you get to 2022, you just pull out that razor, not even the scooter. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So hopefully things are better in 2021. Also, it's just 2 days from now, so it's not really gonna. A year doesn't change, but your mindset can. I read a fortune cookie today that was so stupid, but it was oh god, it was so stupid. I wish I wrote it down. It was, why start off with success when you can start without it? Or why wait for success when you can start right now, or something like that. And I was like, what does this mean? And I thought it was dumb. And I can promise you right now that when I get Chinese in 2021, I will not find a dumber fortune cookie. So things are all we're already looking up. So just remember that.
You'll find the stupidest fortune cookie in 2021
so.
that'll be like,
Yeah,
guys,
it can't get dumber
always
than that.
appreciate what you have, and appreciate what you don't, and appreciate those people around you, and go outside.
Don't go outside. Don't do that.
And that's what I'm saying. That's gonna be the dumber one.
Perhaps.
But yeah, I think we're good here.
Yeah, and with that, let's officially wrap it up. This will be the last podcast of 2020, thank goodness. From your boys, Adam, Genesis, Giuseppe, we are signing off. Crafting a Chat. We will
see you guys next year.
Next year. Be here. We can't wait.
Got him.
Crafting a Chat.
Not really.
Signing off.
All right. Bye.
Bye, guys. See you next year, 2021.
Fireworks. So now we're here again.